Alright, a bit of an extra draft physics video presentation. Just reply to a couple of comments in a pyrrho, half of a pyrrho video, and such. Just in this idea of conversation about how to have a conversation and all these rules, the rules, what people's expectations should be, and all that kind of crap. And so again, I'll preface my statement by making the point that I only have one objective here with this channel, and that is to point out how fake, conventional physics is, how felonious, made out of exaggerations and just preposterous exaggerations, references to evidence that isn't what they say it is. It's far below the standards that should be accepted as evidence. It's all like going to trial, and it's all a bunch of hearsay evidence, real no hard evidence for anything, and they're doing all this convicting thing. They're all sure and certain and confident. And I would argue there's no reason for all this confidence in their theory. And if there's any reason for confidence, it's in a different theory that I've provided. So yeah, I want to make arguments. I want arguments defending the conventional model, the standard model, and the modern physics. We have to use these words, right? We have to have modern and some word for archaic, which they use commonly, where they call it what would they call that? Newton. They call it something to derogatorily imply that it's incorrect physics. But anyway, so I want to hear those arguments defending the conventional argument, or I want to hear arguments demonstrating in some way how there's any reason not to believe the alternative model I've provided. Okay, anyway, that's my job. I'm really not here to get an audience. The only thing I want an audience for is then you have enough clout, you scare enough people that they feel like they have to respond to you. So you actually get some of these physics cowards to show up for the argument. Again, they take on the flat earthers because they know they're going to win. But they don't take it's all the it's the rotten fruit kind of argument. They're just really very lame. They only want to fight midgets. Anyway, but yeah, if I had an audience, that's all it'd be good for. I'm really not here to sell, to popularize, to do any of that. I want to have a strictly rational, intelligent, logical argument about why the conventional model is, in fact, silly. It's just silly, making up new particles every day, and then making a whole bunch of anti-ones. Just in one day, they all of a sudden one day decided, oh no, there's an anti-particle for everything, and an anti-field. It is a joke. It's so bad. Turning matter into bent space, to justify the LIGO thing, saying something like we can measure 1/10,000th of the distance of a proton with their instrument, their LIGO machine. It's an insanely stupid exaggeration. But they have to say it because, mathematically that's what's required. They have to do that to be able to claim they heard these stupid sounds from space. So they have to claim it, even though it's a preposterous thing to claim. So anyway, I'm just saying, it's garbage physics. And this conversation needs to take place, and I want to see if anybody intelligent will show up. Anybody who could make a reasonable argument, except put on clown makeup or something. So anyway, so this Bart guy says, this is Bart. Why are you... So anyway, that's why I have a little bit of an attitude, is because, yes, the audience is disposable. I'm not here to sell Barney the Dinosaur. Here's your little physics story in a little tiny ABC package. Like, I can make it out of ABC blocks. It's like Shakespeare didn't write by putting a bunch of ABC blocks together, He didn't do it for kindergartners. And so there's a certain futility in that. I just don't see any point in it. I'm not going to, it's bad. It's hard enough making the model, defending it as one person against 1 million, or one, however number you want to make up, right? How many physics thinkers, how many people have contemplated the mechanics of the universe over the last 100 years, right? So it's me against them. Okay, and all of those were working on wave theories and ether theories, right? So that's really what it's about. How many people really thinking outside of the ether box versus in the ether box? Uh, yeah, so, I have way too much to do to sit there and spend my time trying to translate it into baby talk. So, yeah, if you're really not willing to watch a few physics lectures and understand what momentum is and velocity and mass and these concepts, polarization, then, yeah, forget it. You don't belong here. Anyway, why are you continuously insulting people who try and do an effort to understand what you are saying? Well, I don't do that. I'm fucking, yeah, in my opinion, I've been infinitely patient with people. I mean, look at that Pedro guy or whatever he was, Louisiana. I mean, I kept pleading with him, quit bringing up your stupid cosmological crap. I'm not doing cosmological crap here. I don't give a fuck about big bangs or black holes. It's not really physics. It's so distant from the tiny universe that's running the universe. The little universe runs the universe. The big universe doesn't run the universe. There's no big universe forces that are relevant. The little universe is the only universe. I've said those explicit words and I've emphasized to them, I really don't want to have that conversation. There's no evidence of the origins of the universe. It's too distant. I don't give a fuck whether it's a big bang, a big fart, a big blow, a big suck, who fucking cares? I couldn't care less. There's no reason to believe anything because the evidence is so fucking feeble. There's no fucking evidence, for fuck's sake. The beach has been walked on 1,000,000,000,000 times since the caveman walked on it. You're not going to find any of his fucking footprints. Anyway, I pleaded with him over and over, please stop doing it. What do? He just keeps doing it. I mean, where am I showing the lack of patience? Oh, amazing. So, I mean, this is more just of your exaggeration. You're just an exaggerator. 95% of my videos are making an argument. I'm not making personal attacks in 95% of the content. No, it's a tiny percentage of the content where I'll just point out, you fucktard. I mean, did you watch the fucking video? I'll ask that question. Did you watch the fucking video? How the fuck can you misparaphrase me so disgustingly? Did you watch the video? I mean, some asshole just pointing out how you're confusing amplitude with polar. No, I'm not. Where'd he get that crazy accusation from? He made it up in his own little delusions. I'm supposed to say what? Thanks for distracting the whole conversation, jackass? That what you would do? So this always coming from people who don't make content, have no clue what it's like to have these imbeciles show up and pretend like they're paying some kind of attention when they've paid no attention. Zero. Anyway. Alright. An effort to understand what you are saying is beyond me. So it's beyond him. So show me the other video player here who actually deals with these comments. I actually read your tripe, okay, and attempt to sit there and make a counter argument, explain why. And that's not good enough for you. Amazing. Anyway, it's beyond you. It's beyond your understanding on the internet how anybody could possibly, take the time to read this garbage when most people just run away from it. But anyway, if you really want to get heard, so heard by who? Again, I want an argument. I don't give a fuck about. I mean, yes, makes sense if you're going to counter argue something that you actually listen to somebody's argument first. But what I want to hear is I want to hear a coherent argument explaining how Huygens is consistently applied in the single slit and the double slit. That the same principle is applied the same way in the two experiments. Because it isn't. And you know it. You now know it. Because I've made it so fucking obvious. I want to hear somebody defend the crap, all the distortions, all the misrepresentations that all the professors are making. I play their clips. I show you how they're overtly saying it wrong. And you just pretend that didn't happen. Okay, fine. There's nothing. That's beyond me, how you can't take notice of that. Alright. Anyway. You really need to perhaps try being a little bit more polite. Again, for what cause? So if this whole thing is dependent on politeness, that's bullshit. What I don't do is spend a whole lot of time photoshopping and quote mining and other people's videos. I play their content. I don't talk over their videos. I play their video, then I respond. I play a pretty fair game, so what's the whine about? 1% of my content or something? 1% where I misread some kind of crap they stated and I didn't realize they weren't saying what they crudely could imply they were saying. I mean, how many of these comments are just veiled sarcasm? You can't even tell are they being sarcastic or are they actually making a point? Because you try to use so few words or they use them poorly. Have you read the comment sections? Do you see how hard to understand half these comments are? Anyway, a little bit more polite. I've been watching your videos for over 10 years now. I've never interacted with you. So it doesn't impress you one way or the other. That's your style, okay? It wouldn't be mine. If I was watching somebody for 10 years, I think I'd react in some way or another, but whatever, fine. I guess it's some sort of mediocre show, like Mr. Ed. Yeah, you can watch it if you're not trying too hard. If it's too much trouble to reach for the remote, you could watch it. Yeah, it's watchable. Okay, I've been, but you just don't want to change the channel, I guess. Anyway, I've never interacted with you, never felt the need to be insulted. So you're already assuming you're going to say something where I'll need to insult you. There's plenty of people I've interacted with for 10 years. I haven't had the need to insult them. And again, you're taking it as any kind of disagreement shouldn't be emphasized. It's not important. I think disagreement is everything. It's what we always should be looking for, is where the disagreements are. Because frankly, there shouldn't be any. Intelligent people should be able to agree on just about everything. That's the whole point of intelligence, is that it sort of goes in one place. Logic sort of dictates certain conclusions. And they should be unescapable. That's what the evidence should be. It points in a direction. And it points sometimes to so exact a location that there really shouldn't be any room for disagreement. So in some subjects, yeah, I'm way past nonsense. If all you got is, I think God done it. Well, yeah, that's not going to be anything like a persuasive argument, and you're going to get ridiculed as wasting your space here on Earth. You're just wasting your time on Earth with a stupid delusion in your head. You're not fixing them. You're fixing the car by working on the lawnmower. You just got it all so fucking wrong. Yeah. Anyway, I know you don't give a shit about being nice. I don't give a shit about playing some excessive mismanners game. So I think people should be willing to be honest with each other. So if you honestly hate my hair, go ahead, go for it. If you honestly hate my voice, okay, say, God, your voice just grades like shit on my fucking brain. It's just like I hate it. Fine, it's okay. You can do that. Okay? I don't mind. I can take it if it's honest. The point is when it's all this dishonest ridicules, a bunch of fake straw man premises for which you're guilty, just as you started this fucking comment with this presumption that all I do is spend my time ragging on individuals and just pointing out how fat their asses are. No, that's not all I do, and it's not the substance of what I do, and if it's anything, it's a tiny, tiny, minuscule little percentage of what I do. All right. But the fact that you've been making videos for over a decade now indicates you somehow want your message to come across. No, I just somehow expect arguments to win someday. It's like you're just going to court and you're saying, look, here's the fucking evidence. Let me explain the evidence. And you have this expectation that there's some kind of honest jury somewhere, somehow, that'll draw the right conclusions. I can't make you smart. I can't make you fair. I can't make you honest. I can't make you any of the things necessary for you to be able to listen to the presentation of the evidence and to fairly judge it. But that's my expectation. I don't have any other expectation. I expect to win arguments when I make a good argument. The end. That's my only expectation and my only incentive for doing this. is I think the truth should win. I think the truth should rule the world. I think facts should always win. I think we all should be draconianly obedient to those kinds of critiques from logic and intelligence. We're always obliged to be obedient. And I pointed out my limitations and the fact that I have failed, that I am a bit of an asshole. I'm not as meticulous as I should be, but I'm making the counter argument is I can't afford to be. I just don't have the time. I'm getting close to being dead. I still have a lot to get done, a lot that hasn't been finished, and so I just don't have patience for every, I just can't do all this nitpicky stuff to try to make everything perfect for you, especially my personality. It kind of inhibits the whole process if I have to redefine my fundamental personality into some other personality. Yes, I have a kind of an abrasive personality, because that's how I like to interact in the world. I like something direct and honest and right in your face. If somebody doesn't like me, I like them to tell me why they don't like me. I don't want to hear the lies. I don't want to hear some kind of bullshit. Anyway, to make a difference. Well, again, the difference is just an obligation of logic winning. So that's all. Yes, I mean, I intend to make one. But I don't intend to make one by dressing up in a costume and sticking my finger in your anuses and twitching it just right. I don't have any plan to do it that way. I don't want to seduce you, okay, with bullshit. I want to just throw the facts in a pile and say, do you see that pile there? Well, those are called facts. Go look at that shit. It'll amaze you. All right, anyway. Then why be such an asshole towards people who are genuinely interested? Well, like I said, they're genuinely interested, but they want to do this physics thing on the cheap, and I'm saying you just really can't. There's a lot to go over. There's a lot of experiments. There's a lot of nuance to the interaction. It's just something you can't pick up in an hour. And they want to know physics in an hour. It just ain't gonna happen that way. They want they want so condensed a version of the book that it just basically says it was a stormy night, the end. I mean, there's no, just ... You can't do it that way. Genuinely interested. Okay, then why be such an asshole towards people who are genuinely interested? Do you care about your message? Again, so no, this isn't some message thing. I care about a fight. I care about a nice, fair, honest fight. Their evidence against my evidence. An honest battle to the death, whatever. Yeah, that's what I care about. I don't care about anything else. Everything else is superfluous. I'm not here to please the people in the audience. I'm here to beat the shit out of the guy I'm boxing. All right. Do you want to change people's minds? Then drop the tough guy act. It's not an act, frankly. It is my personality. Sorry. And it's hardly tough guy. Again, I'm pretty empathetic, pretty sympathetic. So again, most people would call me one of those snowflake type people. Anyway, tough guy act. But hey, I'm not sure you've pushed the back button by now. But hey, I'm sure you've pushed the block button by now. Silly, really. Now I'm going to press the delete button is what I'm going to do. But again, so you're saying this is an honest critique of the 10 years of content I've produced, is you think I've just spent those 10 years talking about how fat the amazing atheist's ass is. I didn't make any arguments about how evil his nihilism is. So 99% of the content wasn't arguments about why nihilism is retarded. No, it was that nihilists have fat asses. I mean, and I'm supposed to appreciate your paraphrase. Your critique. Sorry, I can't appreciate it. Can't think it's valuable or fair or reasonable. It's a sack of shit. So thanks. After 10 years of watching, this is the best you can do. yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. Go watch somebody else, but you're not doing it right. Yeah, frankly. And then somebody says in Norwegian or whatever, me too. Likewise, same. Well, fuck you too. So I'm not gonna block you, but I'm gonna remove the comment. It's a pile of shit, and I responded to it. Jeez. All right. So this was just mainstream science crap. Blah blah blah. These are kind of old articles about LIGO, frankly, but not irrelevant. All right. So on to Pyrrho. Sorry, I should have probably done the Pyrrho thing first out of politeness, but too bad. All right. I was not drunk. In fact, it was the morning before work. Well, it doesn't mean you got any sleep or something. Look, I didn't dishonestly say you seem drunk to me. Okay, so I'm just giving you my honest impression. So if you want to think I was just doing it for the fun of it, or because I don't, I like to make fun of you, or some kind of crap like that, go ahead and think that. But it's my honest assessment of your condition in your video. All right, your videos have a huge difference in their quality, in the sense of the quality of your interaction, how engaged you are, how quickly you talk. I mean, they're really dramatically different. And we know some of that is because you actually are drunk. So we know you'll concede that's a truth. Like some percentage of your videos are stupid because you're stupidly drunk. And so I was just blaming it on, well, it must be the drunk thing. Okay, so, but, whatever. So I'm not allowed to tell you when I think the quality of your video absolutely sucks and that you don't seem very engaged. So yes, you want to say I was way overtired? Fine. But you probably shouldn't make a video then, should you? I mean, I have times when I want to make a video, but I say, yeah, I'm just too tired. I can't, I'm not going to be coherent enough, quick enough. Anyway, that's how I talk. Well, I don't think that's true. So that's what I'll say. I'll say there's a huge variation in how you talk in videos. You don't talk the same way in all the videos. So that's just a statement I'm making to you. You can believe it or not. It's okay with me. Just saying. It's my observation that there's a huge difference between video A and video C. Anyway. It could be related to having hemorrhage in my language center several times before I got surgery for it when I was 27 or 28. He doesn't remember when. Yeah, got more than his language center. Yeah, I had a stroke, 12 years ago. Life sucks. You get over it. Clearly, I'm not talking about because I heard you before you had that condition, and then I heard you after that condition. I'm clearly talking about videos that have variation in them since then. Okay, way after you were 27 years old. I'm talking about the variation in the quality of your video, in the sense of the quality of your cognitive awareness seems to change dramatically. Okay. I am a person that has to search for words. My written language is different. Well, sometimes your written language is worse than your video language, frankly, because you're sloppy. I mean, that's just a fact. You don't really pay much attention to the detail of actually being understandable. Anyway, but I'm left-handed, and inevitably my right side of my brain offered to take over some language functions. Yeah, well, whatever. I'm ambidextrous, so what? Anyway, P.S. By not drunk, I mean not even anything to drink for several days. Well, okay, it's nice that you were on the wagon. Maybe that was what's doing it, The cockroaches were moving in. To all the empty space, but whatever. I'm just saying, you can take it for what it is. I'm just saying your videos are sometimes almost unwatchable because your chain of reasoning is it's moving so slowly. All right, and so then he has to see. This is the part that's also, then he has to comment to his own comment. Usually, then he'll type 6 comments on one video. I mean, little things are just, okay, they don't bother you. They bug the crap out of me. So I shouldn't say it when it bugs the crap out of me? It bugs the crap out of me when some asshole is on somebody's video making 10 comments in a row. Bugs the crap out of me. So I consider you expecting me to watch. See, this is where you could use some punctuation. But whatever. Didn't even capitalize the so, right? So I consider you expecting me to watch you go on about that rude. So obviously he's saying, so I consider your expectation, not you expecting me, to watch you go on about my drinking rude. See, that is just not saying enough. That rude, that's not good punctuation. I mean, it's not good structure. So I'm just saying, you're leaving it difficult to comprehend again. You're making it hard for the listener, the reader. And you should try to make it easy for them, not hard for them. It shouldn't be a puzzle I have to solve to figure out what you're saying. Alright, so anyway, now we'll play his video. So anyway, look, me and Pyrrho have a long history, so I'm going to waste this video, another one on him. And the history of it's gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And like I said, it hit its low point when he was doing what the Mickey Farley does, right? He's showing me wave experiments where there's obviously a noise they're putting into the slit. You get noise out. I mean, it's just such an obvious misrepresentation of how the experiment is supposed to be performed. And he's telling, he's arguing as this is evidence of, why photons diffract. It's diffraction. Somehow it's a different thing in the single slit, which is just so bogus. And then you could argue that the single impediment blows that theory up anyway. But it's just, he's never answered. I did videos with questions. He doesn't answer the questions. He's totally unresponsive to the actual video you make. He rarely, if ever, plays a video and actually responds to something in it, unless it's a complete lunatic. And it's just hopelessly bad. So yes, I apologize for the jump. So he spent, the first half of this video, blah, blah, blah. I didn't even say anything specific on it, except somehow he's not expecting its fairness rules or something. So that's how he even playing fields. When, the clear evidence is that this resentment, this antagonism between us is clearly all on him, because he's the one who had to start getting rude and obnoxious in his rhetoric, insulting my intelligence. And, it's just, I don't have to sit for that. If you want to play that, then I'll play. And so he asked for that game, and that's the game I gave him back. But anyway, so, he has no argument to make. But the content is just so lacking. He has no complete or specific knowledge. He just has a vague notion they must be right, but he can't really defend it. He didn't really sit through the trial. He can't really tell you what the evidence was in the trial, because he's never sat through the trial and paid attention to the evidence. He just thinks, oh yeah, well they have some DNA evidence. He just doesn't know the fact that, oh yeah, but it was sitting in a truck for 4 years and at 174 degrees, and so the DNA is bullshit. But anyway. So we'll play the second half of this together for the fun of it.
And I've done political action my whole life, and that's where, you really get in and put a lot of work in, and you're careful about various things. It's different than...
So, whatever. So that's another... He's done it all his life. In what form? We don't have any evidence of any of that, but whatever. Fine. So how does that mean anything? Again, you haven't demonstrated what arguments you made and where you made them and how you won any. Yeah, that might be a good thing to show.
And just taking part in the public dialogue that has to be had in an open way and not overly prepared way. And you...
So I would argue it's exactly the opposite. This unprepared way means you argue about abortion and you make the same arguments over and over again for 200 years. So instead of actually getting to a resolution where you actually point out how, so your objection to abortion is the fact that you're a religious kook. Like even the antinatalist argument is sort of ironic, right? Because I just saw a William Lane Craig video where he's admitting if he didn't believe in God, life would look horrible to him too. Okay, so he's admitting that it all hinges on whether you believe in God or not, because he's conceding, I wouldn't live either if there was no God. I mean, it's that kind of thing where why should you keep arguing with somebody like that then? Why are you arguing the subject itself when you've already identified the reason why you believe something? And all there is left to do here is to identify what is your reason for being wrong. And your reason for being wrong is you have some underlying shamanistic bullshit theory, okay, that you're not talking about because you're going to be a UFO nutter.
Seem way invested in a different sense, not because the truth is important, but for.
So again, you can't, this innuendo that I'm arguing for something other than a pristine, fair, accurate description of the evidence is just such a gross lie. So if you have some evidence, link me to it. Again, link me to your description of a magnet and how it works. Show me the one YouTube video somewhere where they actually explain a magnet in some sort of rational terms.
For example, a concerning thing to me is when you were saying how you really expect to be winning the Nobel.
So this is more horseshit, right? This is a left nothing comment, right? It was just in a conversation with somebody else, right? Somebody asked me something, and I said, well, that would mean you'd win the Nobel Prize. I said, yeah, of course I would. Of course I would. If I really do have a unification theory, something Einstein was searching for his whole life, and I really have so radically changed all of physics, destroyed wave-particle duality, destroyed entanglement, destroyed all of these things, of course I would get a Nobel Prize. I mean, I should get like 458,000 of them. It's such a gigantic change and contribution, anyway, to correcting errors and providing the right answer kind of thing. It's just so profound an impact. So of course I deserve it if I'm right. There's no alternative way to describe it. I mean, I've completed Einstein's life's work, all this kind of stuff. How the fuck wouldn't that, if it was any other person besides me, you'd say, sure, he should get a Nobel Prize if he radically changes physics entirely. Gets rid of gravitational lensing. Photons being bent by gravity, gets rid of entanglement, gets rid of wave bullshit, all of it. I mean, almost all of it, except for in the ocean. All the other waves are bullshit. I mean, of course it would be worth a Nobel Prize. He's pretending that somehow that's an outrageous statement. So how's it outrageous? I'm just conceding the argument. Yes, there's no way I wouldn't be entitled to a Nobel Prize if I'm right. If I'm right, I'm entitled by any rational standard. And he's arguing somehow, no, that can't be true. Why can't it be true?
Prize and discovered or whatnot. And to me, there's a couple problems with that. One, it shows an emotional attachment to it.
So this is more bullshit. How does it show that? So did you play the clip of me talking about it? Because I never talked about the Nobel Prize in any other way than I just did now, where I just said, of course I'd be entitled to it if I'm right. Of course, it's unavoidable. It's, no rational argument nobody could stand up and say, I don't think that deserves the Nobel Prize. Nobody could rationally make that argument. Could you pretend to be making that argument and explain how the event wasn't exactly what gets Nobel Prizes, is discovery of some new or change in the model, and that it couldn't be a more dramatic change? There was never ever a more dramatic change ever than if my model's right and their model's wrong. I mean, it's just such an insane... And this is the thing he hinges on. This is the crap he gravitates to. So I make a video saying questions, answer these questions. I make a video say, what's wrong with this theory? Where evidence is there that's in conflict with it? Do I get any of that responded to? No. Instead, he picks on this crap.
What am I supposed to do? If you're emotionally attached to ideas like that, then we're not just discussing physics anymore. If I educate you in physics, like when I educate you in physics, right, like I said, I'll draw it again. Now, he honestly thinks this is the way physics should be done. So this is the way you do experimental physics. You need a result, okay? You need to make this happen, okay? So you make a slit experiment and you put regular straight waves in a nice consistent manner, and you get this. Oh, that doesn't make this.
But if I really agitate all these waves, right? So if they're banging back and forth on a big flat thing, and I'm pushing it in faster and faster, and I'm creating more and more noise, and I can even see the noise in the slit. Okay, and then I get some kind of pattern. It's not this pattern. Okay, it won't have the exact pattern of this pattern. It won't look exactly like this pattern at all. But anyway, it's going to be a pattern anyway. So I'll be able to break this knot pattern, this diffraction, and I'll turn it into interference because I put a bunch of interference in. Now he thinks that's how physics should be done. We should look for this dishonest way of presenting the evidence. This is completely dishonest, right? I mean, putting a bunch of bent waves in is completely dishonest because nobody thinks 14,000 frequencies are going into the slit or that they're all out of phase or all this other stuff. The whole argument is that it is some continuous light source that has a very even pattern built into it to start with, and then you get an interference pattern. If they were all out of phase and all mixed up, then you wouldn't expect to be able to say, oh, they're in phase here and they're in phase here. None of that geometry would even work. So, it's a preposterously crooked and fake thing to do, and he did that. Okay, that's his great argument. I can prove. Okay, no, that's not proof. That's called crap. It's called shenanigans. And here you are saying you've educated somebody. You haven't educated anybody. You're a propagandist, and that's the best you can say about you.
Started talking about this stuff. There's an emotional price for you, and
so again, all this is sort of irrelevant to this plea for a conversation or arguments to be made. And the fact is, I'm making them, and you're implying that somehow the rest of the world isn't complying with your need to hear an argument, when no, it's you who aren't complying with making an argument. Instead, you're doing this kind of shystery.
I would be responsible for that emotional price. Maybe you need that dream.
Blah, 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 blah. So again, this has nothing to do with anything, right? Is there any connection at all to all the videos I made for the last year and this conversation about some sort of emotional thing? When all of the videos have been about physics subjects and whether or not it makes any sense to believe in a bent space or a bent this or a, photons that, lens when the lens is the wrong frickin' shape. It's exactly inverted. How does the wrong shaped lens magnify? I can ask the question. Will he answer it? No.
Similar, but on the other side of the coin, is you said many times that you think, I believe your physics system, for example, and other things that you say, and I just won't admit it because I'm stubborn.
Lie. So, it's just an overt lie. Obviously, if I thought you believed it, then this wouldn't be a problem. But I think you believe that I think you understand this fake evidence argument. So I think you are aware of that. All right. And I think you are aware of a couple other things where there's every indication that conventional physics doesn't have all this great evidence. That, in fact, some alternative theory could be correct. So that much I'm saying, yes. And I think you're just pretending that doesn't exist, that doubt doesn't exist. But I think it's there. I think you have it. Yeah, I think you have some doubt. But I never said you believed.
In which case you're projecting onto me an emotional attachment that really makes no sense. I'm here saying, hey, I believe in this. I'm staking ground. I'm going to guess that we're going to find quantum mechanical, physical systems and biological systems. And, I'm staking out all this ground. Obviously,
you didn't stake it out with anything specific, and you still don't even have an argument. Again, you might as well say they're going to find quantum mechanical chocolate and quantum mechanical chalk and quantum mechanical everything, because that's all they're doing lately, right? They're making everything into a quantum thing when it's not. So obviously everything is already, because of the whole de Broglie thing, you've already turned everything into a waving thing. Somehow it has a frequency and it's waving. The Maserati going down the street has a frequency, whether it likes it or not.
I enjoy that, but I'm going to stake out ground with fake flags, things I don't believe. I really believe these other things that we're also discussing, but I don't want to tell you because I like pretending to have ideas I don't really. No,
my argument is you have some underlying bullshit. Okay, there's got to be a reason why you have this huge bias in your perception towards this silly wavical nonsense. There's these wooey answers. So there's something underlying it where you say it's going to validate my totem pole. You have some kind of totem pole somewhere that makes it where you think my totem pole will be worth more money, okay, if it turns out this way. And my totem pole won't be worth any money if it turns out that way. So you want the truth to be something else than it is because you have something else you're trying to protect. That's sort of the argument. It's my reasoned speculation on why you're such a fanatic for this loop-de-doo bullshit. It's so wooey and so obviously fakey. Okay, why are you believing it? Do you really believe matter turns into bent space? Do you really think there's some logic to that?
That makes no sense. How that would pay off for me in that case, right? And it's super irrational. I mean, even if your system was correct, as you said, you think the scientific establishment is corrupt, and they're liars and they're fakers and they say they...
Well, apparently they are. They're like you. They have low character, okay? They'll present quote-mined evidence as facts. And so I'm saying that LIGO is corrupt. Yes, when you say you can measure 1/10,000th of the distance of the width of a proton, you're so full of shit. It's incredible. I mean, I don't even know how anybody could hold that much shit in them. Okay, they have to have more mass in shit than they have actual mass. Because it's such a insane exaggeration that there's any way to measure such a distance. It's just insane to state it.
Experiments they've never even really done. It's a pretty hugely corrupt thing. Why and how would that organization...
So again, the corruption is in the scientists themselves. They obviously don't have the Newtonian kind of character. They talk way beyond what they can prove. They make claims way beyond what they have evidence to support. That's my argument. So my argument isn't it's a conspiracy. My argument is it's just a failure of the character of humanity. Human beings have lost their character, okay? Over time, they're becoming, they're less reliable, they're less honest, they're less on time, they're less everything. They're just become less, okay? Just in my own lifetime, I can honestly say, what world would I rather live in? The world of today's people or the world of yesterday's people? And I take yesterday's because, yeah, they weren't nearly as deficient and dysfunctional.
It's like saying not only are you going to expose the mafia, but the mafia is going to give you, a prize as best law.
Well, the argument is I still call them scientists. I still think they want the truth. So I've said that overtly. I think they value the truth. They just don't value the mechanism you get to it through. They want the truth. If they can actually make the argument to them, if they can actually be exposed to these arguments, then maybe they can understand that what they were told by their professors wasn't true. When the professor told them, we put detectors on and the electron did this. When they told them these things, they just believed it, and it's just not true. It never happened. These experiments never took place. I mean, there's people that are fine. There's a girl that does the Tybes or whatever, and she even said the whole reason why she got into physics was the Dr. Quantum video. I mean, a horribly fraudulent video, and that's what motivated her to be interested in physics, was just a pile of lies. I mean, that's a pretty pathetic.
A man of the year for doing it. And the dangerous part is it shows this emotional investment where...
So again, where's the evidence I have any emotional investment in any of this? I'm just making it as a statement of principle. Okay, I mean, it's just a fact. It's like Hitler being whatever, man of the decade or whatever he was. This is a fact that he was the most influential person for a certain period of time, or something like that. It's just a logical argument. You don't have to like me. You don't have to. Blah, blah, blah. This isn't about any of that. I'm just making a practical argument that yes, it is. It is what it is. Somebody had to be the person who fixes it, and it just happens to be me. So what? Where's this demonstration of a huge emotional investment beyond the fact that you're showing hypocrisy by not even conceding that point? You can't even concede the simplest little points, and that's just showing you're the one with some emotional problem. Because again, if it was any other person, if it came from any other source, you wouldn't play this stupid game. Ugh, it's just pathetic.
You can't just talk about the subjects. Right?
No, you can't just talk about the subjects. That's the whole point. You can't. All you can do is this fake crap. Professor says, I've played them all. Every single one of them. Go ahead, show me another 2-slit experiment I can go make fun of, because they're all bad. Every single one of them is a farce.
Don't want to be responsible for your emotional reaction when you telegraph so clearly that that's exactly what this all means to you.
So again, no evidence. Play the clip of me. Play the clip of the video where I'm showing some emotionalism over the Nobel Prize. Show the clip, shithead. Oh, God, what an amazing pile of crap. And so this is what he wants somebody to respond to, this crap. This is an argument he's making. It sucks, asshole. It's a shitty argument.
So, I think basically the notoriety of being recognized as the world's greatest physicist is more important to you than the physics.
See, there it is again. Okay, fine, you can make that assertion. I think it's just kind of silly. I'm just sitting here. It's like every other argument I make. It's about, okay, you're trying to stop harm in the world, so you have this stupid idea that you'll pay a veterinarian hundreds of dollars to cut a cat's nuts off and clip its ear and then throw it back on the street to eat garbage and live a horrible, frightened life. I argue it's not a very good plan. How the hell does that improve the general condition of these animals? Oh, I guess it doesn't at all. It just wastes a big pile of money making veterinarians rich. That's all it does. It's the veterinarian enrichment plan. It isn't the save the cat plan. And so that's all I'm making. I'm invested in the fact that I think it's a horrible waste of suffering. I think it's a horrible waste of our intelligence for physics to just be a fucking religion. And by every standard of how they are treating information, they are behaving like religious fanatics. They're not behaving like scientists. They're jumping to bizarre conclusions. They're making rigid assertions of conclusions about facts, based on things that are, the equation says so. No experiment says so. And just because they can make it up, let's make up this idea of multi-dimensions where it doesn't make any sense. It's not connected to the rule of what a dimension is. I mean, I've made all these arguments. I don't hear any reply from you. Just babble about this kind of mush. Pathetic. So, yeah, probably enough. Well, there's probably a comment or two on here that ought to be worth laughing at. Oh, no comments. Nothing. Let's see. Maybe if I reload it, maybe there's a comment. I don't know. Nothing. Nope, didn't merit any comments. Oh, too bad. Anyway. So, I mean, you can see what shows up in my related video stream. It's all physics videos. There's no emotional videos. There's no I've got to win the Nobel Prize videos. Not a single video here about who wins the Nobel Prize. Hardly my obsession. I'm just arguing from a rational standpoint that, as human beings go, if I'm right, man, I really did fly so much higher than the rest of you pigs. It's just a fact. I did fly higher. Anyway, so till the next time and such. So yeah, it's communication with human beings is just really difficult because every single one of them wants you to play the game their way. Your uniform has to be their color, the color they like. The grass has to be a certain color. The fences have to be a certain height. I mean, each individual has some stupid rules about what looks best. It's like just anything. Pretty women, lots of things people can disagree on. With the average, if they statistically ask the average male what he goes for, ain't going to look like him. Or the woman I'm going to say is number one. That's never going to be true. And some of them are way, way out there in outer space in terms of you can't even tell it's a woman. So that's all this turns into is just the fact that apparently human beings are they're going to remain dysfunctional for a while because they haven't done any of these rules of logic thing where you have to engage in a conversation. First you have to have these premises, these axioms. You have to agree on some kind of ballpark that you're going to argue in, and none of this can be done by any of these people. They just can't do it. They can't stay on the subject, that's for certain. Can't get on the subject. It's not even staying on it. They can't even find it. The subject isn't how much fake evidence can I waste your time analyzing? How many distractions, how many bridges or roads to nowhere can I build, to force you to waste all your time going nowhere? And that's all they base their conversation on is distractions and evasions. Distraction and evasion. Distraction and evasion. That's why I'm going to have to pay somebody to have a conversation. It's that pathetic. I can't glean it from one rational, intelligent, conversationally competent human being. No, instead I have to buy it. It's a sad truth. So anyway, until the next time, and such, and so forth and whatnot. Yeah, that's enough.